Hey, thank you everybody for listening to today's episode of the Bookers Alliance podcast. This is a supersized episode. We appreciate you taking the time to listen to this one. It's a little bit longer than our normal podcast, but hang on, strap in, and enjoy the ride. Welcome to the Bookers Alliance podcast, where we hold the pencil and the pencil is power. Coming at you right now is your host, Marky Mark, along with the man, the myth, the legend, Frank Donaldson. Join us as we discuss the ever-changing landscape of professional wrestling. So hang on tight, you jabronis, and enjoy the ride. All right, welcome in. No. What's going on?
No. So those of you who are all long-time listeners, you know who picked the actual winner of the WrestleMania Night 2 main event between Cody and Roman Reigns. That would be me. So that means I'm taking the intro today.
All right. Feeling yourself over there. Go ahead with your own intro.
The head booker today will be doing the intro because the spoils of victory are being the head booker.
Let's see what you got.
All right. So we're going to do an intro today. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of all ages, iHeart, Spotify, YouTube, SiriusXM, and all podcast listening stations proudly bring to you the wrestling podcast champions of the world. The Beaver, Marky Mark, the Bad Boy, DGF, the Bookers, Alliance.
The crowd goes wild. I'll take it. I'll accept it. That was nice.
All right,
flavor there. But I tell you, Frank, man, I'm mad. I'm mad as hell at the end of this thing, man.
My goodness.
I tell you, I'm madder than a mosquito in a mannequin factory.
Hold on, let me get one here. All right.
If we're gonna play that,
that's what I need to get through this because I hear it coming. Yep. So
I'm madder than a mosquito in a mannequin factory. I'm madder than a piano player at a marching band. I'm madder than a little person with a yo-yo. Oh, wait a minute, that might have been.
No, here we go. Now we just lost our international.
I'm just full of piss and vinegar.
All right. Well, we're gonna talk about it today. So we're gonna talk about it. I think I got some stuff I haven't shared yet. Kind of kept it. I tried to wait. So just as full disclosure, today is April 5th. We are recording late here. We wanted to let everybody else get their recaps, get their ideas out, all that other. So the stuff we dropped to you today is going to be authentic. So
absolutely.
But we're going to talk through it. So yeah, let's hear your anger today. Give me what you got.
So let's just go ahead and get started with WrestleMania 39 itself. We're going to go through both nights here. We're not going to spend eternity talking about the matches in depth. We got a bunch of other stuff we got to get to.
Too much.
The wrestling news world has turned itself upside down. So let's go ahead and talk about night one. We kicked off with Theory versus Cena. That kind of went how we thought it was going to go.
Yeah, it had to be. I mean, you bring back the legend. He's going to be in and out. Right. He's gone for a while. No way he doesn't come in and put Theory over. Theory had championed for that match for a while, and he got his payoff. He got his WrestleMania moment.
Yeah, and props to Cena coming in and doing the job.
Yeah,
that's
always giving back to the business.
Yeah,
you got to give it to him on that. At this point now, he realizes it isn't about him. He's got to get back to the business. So. And it's good. I mean, he comes in, he brings his ball spot with him. He does his
jorts,
5 moves of doom, and then he runs out. And that's good. It made for a big WrestleMania payday and got a young guy over. It's good stuff.
Yeah. So what more can you say about that Theory going over like that? So props to Theory. Then we're going to move into the 4-man tag team turmoil that we saw. Obviously, actually a good match. They were some nice spots in there. Yep. You had Gable kind of doing the roll through suplex on Braun Strowman.
Yeah, I mean that was definitely awe inspiring. It was awesome to see.
We had our Tower of Doom where it looked like
always.
Ricochet just teabagged everybody.
Oh yeah. I think he died at the end of that spot too. I mean, I don't know. He might have had to come back, but
Yeah.
Easter's coming, so it is that time of year.
Yeah, but obviously Street Profits went over on that one. Kind of saw that coming a mile away with Street Profits. Could have went either way, but seems like they're going to continue to push that tag team, and deservedly so.
I think they made the right choice. They got the win at WrestleMania. They came back, lost the next night, for the tag team championships, but hey, que sera, sera, right? You got your WrestleMania moment. You take it and keep it moving.
Yep. Moving on to Seth versus Logan Paul. Decent match.
Good
match. Not bad. We knew the Prime Energy drink. We knew somebody was in there.
Had to know somebody was in there.
It was up for debate on whether that was his brother or who that was, but turned out to be KSI.
Yeah,
and everybody thought it might have been R-Truth for
I mean, I definitely, when he came out, I looked at it, I was like, what the hell's R-Truth doing out there? Then you're like, then when they said it's KSI, well, who the hell's KSI?
Who's KSI? We'll know.
I was like, yeah, if it had been R-Truth, I'd have been okay. Well, I'd have known what was going on. Had no clue who KSI was, but okay.
Yeah, the biggest thing, though.
He took a good spot.
The biggest thing, though, with this, it didn't really settle too well with us as, wrestling fans. Logan Paul doing the Shawn Michaels zip line. But apparently, that was kind of a birthday gift to him, apparently.
Yeah, it works for him. It's a good throwback to WrestleMania 12, but it looked bad. Good Lord.
It didn't look good.
When Shawn did it, they had the music rocking, and, he came from up in the heavens. We watched Logan Paul get lifted just to get his ride, and go back down. It was like, what the hell was this? But
so some shenanigans there, but we'll move on here. Becky, Trish, Lita versus Damage Control. We kind of knew the way this one was going, especially with the pops for the retro with Trish and Lita.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean it looked good though.
It definitely wasn't a great looking show there. And looks like coming out of that, it looks like Bayley might be out of here. So
Bayley might be gone, which you kind of had to see coming though, because her and Sasha are best friends, and
I think she's interested in what Sasha's doing out there. Outside of the realm of WWE, I think she's just interested to get out there with her and see what they can maybe do, kind of on their own. Plus, they're young; they know that WWE ain't going anywhere. Maybe not. At least maybe it ain't going anywhere.
Well, so far.
We'll get to that a little bit later. But as of right now, they ain't going anywhere. So, hey, you get out there, you get your feet wet, you try something. If it doesn't work, they got jobs.
Yeah. So. And, kudos to her. She's accomplished a lot within the WWE. If she wants to go other way, and see what else she can accomplish, okay, I'll be watching, see what happens. We'll move on here. Rey Mysterio versus Dominic Mysterio. And Dominic finally got that ass whooping he was kind of he was needing there.
Yeah, definitely. But got to give it to him. He was a good heel in that match. He did his job good. He's still young in the business, so we weren't expecting a 5-star, triple jack star in the Tokyo Dome type match. We weren't expecting that, but him and Ray have probably been wrestling for 20 years against each other. So it isn't the first time that they've done this. So they put on a pretty good show. They got Dom what he needed, though.
Yeah. What I want to know though is how much they practiced that turnbuckle spot, because that looked filthy. That was nasty.
That was probably more along the lines of, hey, let's just try something, right? Everything you tried on didn't always gold, but hey, you got to try something. So.
Yeah, and then this kind of got some interference with some other people. Bad Bunny kind of got in there, taking the chain away from Dom, and obviously setting some stuff up for what's to come in Puerto Rico.
Yeah, as we saw on Raw, there's more story coming out of that with Damian Priest and things like that. So they're building there. WrestleMania was a good jump start for that program. Yep.
Then we'll move on to Charlotte versus Rhea. Arguably one of the best matches of the weekend.
Definitely one of the best matches. Top 3 at least.
Absolutely.
And I don't know where it would rank in those top 3. We'd really have to sit down and re-dissect the entire event. But that was an amazing match. Those two women put on a wonderful show. The right person went over.
Absolutely.
Again, same as kind of what we said about Street Profits. The right person went over. They got a lot of meat on the bone of where to build the Rhea story going forward. Also, it looks like Charlotte's on another vacation. So, she kind of came in, got the belt, held on to it for a little while, worked the WrestleMania program, and looks like now she's out again. So.
Like I said, we got to get past 16 somehow.
Yeah. Well, they got to spread it out in time. she can't win them all right away. She won so many in the beginning. Now you kind of have to buy time here to, so you don't give it, you don't want her to have 16 when she's 33. And then, now where do you go from there if she wrestles another 7-8 years?
It is nice to see, though, that next kind of level of the ladies that are coming along that are surpassing now the Charlottes, the Beckys. It's
the 4 horsewomen are kind of on their way out. I mean, 2 of them are all, well, one of them is definitely out.
Yep.
Another one may possibly be out. Third one's on hiatus. So, I mean,
the other one's moved into motherhood.
Yeah,
so.
Absolutely. So, I mean, the 4 horsewomen thing is, it kind of ushered in the era, but now it's time for these other women to step up. And luckily, we've got a good crew out there on the roster that is willing to take those spots.
Yep. Transitioning on to the main event of night 1, the Usos versus KO and Sammy. This was everything we wanted it to be. This was kind of the culmination of Sammy and KO, their kind of entanglement there with the bloodline. But is it truly over? I don't know that we know that yet. They've really
we'll
not
find
definitive.
Out more on SmackDown.
Exactly.
We haven't seen SmackDown yet. Of course, we saw, like I said, it's April 5th, so it's Wednesday. We saw Raw, we saw NXT, but we haven't seen SmackDown yet. So there's still a lot of story to be told on a lot of different angles that, that we haven't seen, but we'll get there. But yeah, it can't be over yet because, I mean, there are no immediate tag team contenders for the titles, to fight Uso and for the Usos to fight besides, Sammy and KO. I mean, that's really all that's at that echelon of tag teams right now. New Day's, of course, out. They've got more injuries than they do players right now, so they're not in the window. Street Profits just had a match on Raw the next night. They lost. They're not in the window. I mean, you got to start bringing those other teams up like Viking Raiders and teams like that. But as of right now, the next premium live event is Backlash, WrestleMania Backlash. Yep. So you're going to have some matches, and that's probably the best place to have that rematch at. And then you could kind of table that story for a while after that.
Yep. So again, that night 1 wrapped up with a lot of emotion, and we, enjoyed that night. Then moving into night number 2, and this is where I don't like a lot that kind of went on for night number 2.
I had a good night number 2. I had a good night there. Night number 2 was good and comfortable for me. I felt real educated as I was watching.
By the end of night number 2, you seen the social media post of the rabid NFL fans pulling the TVs off the wall and smashing them. Yeah, that was where I was at, man.
There you go. I
was like, I'm gonna but
needless to say, I didn't feel that way. I completely went a different way. I was in here cheering like my team just won the Super Bowl. But, of course, I'm used to that. I'm being a Tom Brady fan. I'm used to winning Super Bowls.
Boo.
If we remember right, Marky Mark over there is a Cowboys fan, so he'll know nothing about winning
It's been a little bit of a dry spell.
Yeah, I mean, just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Let's see, you were 14, 15 when they won the last one, maybe?
16, I think.
16, well, there you go.
Yep.
But good Lord, I mean,
I'm knocking on the door at 43.
Yeah, I was going to say, that was definitely the shorter end of your life here. You've lived more of your life since they won a Super Bowl than the other one.
Yeah, so night 2 started off with Brock and Omos. Went about like we thought it was going to go.
Yeah. It wasn't a squash, though. I mean,
it wasn't a squash.
We thought it was going to be a squash.
Almost had some offense.
Yeah. Well, his size and that there, another situation, young guy coming up, getting ready to get over. A lot of the rumors out there were that Brock was leaving after Mania, so I think people got it in their heads like Omos might win here. Brock might put the guy out on the way out. Well, we saw Raw the next night. Brock ain't going nowhere right now. He's actually in a top storyline. So
yep.
That being said, he had to win against Omos. There's no way he could lose and then come back the next night and get positioned into a top program. So, yeah, he had to win. The right person went over for the right reason. Omos isn't necessarily ready to be going over a Brock Lesnar yet either, because, I mean, where do you go from there? If he beat Brock Lesnar in WrestleMania,
he'd be challenging for the belt next
year. After there's only that's it. You're either fighting Roman or whatever they figure out about the belts. You're in that main event heavyweight program, and Omos isn't ready for that in the ring yet. So, right person went over, right solution, but make Omos look good all the way.
Yeah, he did. Moving on to the 4-woman tag team turmoil match. Oh God,
the what?
Yeah. the old God match.
Did that happen?
Yeah. So I'm gonna say this about that match. I am so happy for all the participants that they got their day in the sun to be on a WrestleMania card and experience that event.
Definitely.
You know, some of these wrestlers spend their whole career and never get
to the big dance.
So, I kudos to those ladies that they were able to do that, and that was fantastic. However, the finish to that match, that sucked.
Yeah, that particular one, I can't say the right person went over.
No, I mean, and she
knew going into it, Ronda was injured, so
Yep.
we knew we weren't going to get a lot of participation out of her. Somehow or another, we didn't get much participation out of Shayna either until the end, and they came in, so basically 6 women had a match, not necessarily a good match, but they had a match, and then 2 women kind of came in there, cleaned up the scraps, took the victory, and skedaddled on off to the back, and you're not going to get me to say that the right team went over on that one. One of those workhorse teams should have won.
Should have went over. And there is a new YouTube video that dropped today that WWE put out. It is a behind the scenes of Mania 39. It's about 8 minutes long. I encourage you to go out there and check that out. It's a pretty cool video. But Ronda does walk away from that match stating that she broke more of a sweat getting her hands and elbow wrapped than she did in the ring.
Yeah.
And that is a horrible thing to hear as a wrestling fan.
Yeah, especially considering she won.
Yeah.
I mean, had she not won, you'd say, okay, again, we knew she was injured, so we knew there wasn't going to be enough of her in the match. But yeah, like you say, when somebody's walking away saying that, and kudos to Ronda, she's been critical about creative. She's been critical about her entire second run in WWE, and I'm all for that because she's right. She's trying to make the women's division better. She's trying to help elevate it, and they're basically just feeding the bottom half of the roster to her to make her look better. Well, Ronda doesn't need to look better at this point now. Ronda's a household name. She's a worldwide
Ronda needs to get in there and get her ass beat a couple times, I think.
Yeah, so I'm not sure who would do that.
At this point, if they want to tell me a good story, that whole Liv Ronda angle that they were pulling off, Liv should have went way further, in my opinion, on Ronda.
You agree with Ronda then, because that's exactly what Ronda said. Ronda said the writers should have made Liv go over that story, had a lot more legs they could have explored, but I think they lead more into the easy answer of, okay, Ronda's a badass, she just wins.
Yep.
And they just kind of ride that unless it's Charlotte, Becky, one of who they consider their top tier women. Ronda just easily goes over, and I'm not for that. Ronda's not for that.
And see, look at there. I mean, we started out talking about this match with nothing, and then we come out of the discussion of this match wanting more. And
we came out talking about nothing because that's basically what the creative gave us was nothing. They gave us nothing to really sink our teeth into. So we have to do like Ronda did. We go to social media, we go to other platforms to draw our story out, and it actually makes it compelling.
Yep.
WWE writers could pick up on that and make it compelling by doing some of the suggestions that she's making.
Yeah, so we're going to end on this one and just say, look, do better. Come on, WWE, do better.
Difficult. I mean, I get it. You had a lot going on that weekend. It was busy, but if you're going to put a lackluster effort into it, just don't do it.
Exactly.
They could have had a women's battle royal and just let the women get in there and do the same thing. If let Ronda go in there and win the battle royal, with some battle royal shenanigans.
Yep.
But if you're going to put a half-ass effort into it, then just don't do it.
Yep. So moving on to the slobber knocker of the night, as JR would say. Gunther, Sheamus, Drew.
Good Lord.
Them boys tore each other up.
Yeah, they're the definition of hit hard. I mean, they're the epitome of smack it up, flip it, rub it. I mean, those guys, banger after banger after banger. And every shot, you could feel it. Sitting in your living room, you felt those hits when they were hitting.
Yep, and as Regal used to say a statement, and somebody asked him about professional wrestling and how he hits people and how it looks so vicious, and he went on record stating, he said, I hit people very hard in safe places.
Yeah.
And that was that match. Them dudes just careened each other.
Yeah, I mean, hey, what did you expect though? I mean, we'd already seen Sheamus and Drew. We've already seen Sheamus and Gunther. So we knew it was going to be that. But when you got 3 of those guys, 3 big hosses like that, who ain't afraid to throw some blows, literally throwing blows out there. I mean, you're gonna get a hell of a match, and they put on a hell of a match. They had a good showing for themselves.
As Titus said, "Holy sugar, honey, iced
oh
tea."
my goodness, you got that right. I mean, man, they had everybody in there riled up, and nobody was going out and getting their popcorn on that match.
No.
I mean, we're just watching it, knowing, and again, the right person went over. You got two established vets out there. You got the up and coming, younger guy that came in as champion, and he retained.
Yep.
And that was the way it should have went.
Yep. So great match. So two match recommendations out of Mania. If you haven't seen it by chance, Charlotte Rhea, and then Gunther, Sheamus, Drew.
I would definitely recommend that main event too in there.
No,
just for me,
man, you about to make me not be PG-13 no more, man.
We'll dissect it. I'm pretty sure the bulk of our conversation will lie there today, so we'll get into it.
All right, moving on. Bianca, Asuka, right person went over.
Right person went over. Very good match, though.
Very good match.
I mean, I would almost say if you had to, so the two women's title matches, 1A, 1B.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be hard to say which one was better because it was a completely different type of match from one to the other. I believe equally they were good, though. I mean, again, I believe the right person went over again because, Bianca's in a epic title run now. She's establishing herself. Asuka's been around. Asuka's had that. Asuka's done it all. Bianca's doing it all right now, and I don't think it's the time to derail her momentum right now.
So Bianca is 3-0 currently.
Yep.
At WrestleMania.
Yep. All three for titles, too.
Asuka is 0-5.
Wow. That part I didn't know.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's the bad part about this that I wanted to talk about for a second. Why in God's name is Asuka 0-5 at WrestleMania?
So, unfortunately, because of how good she is and how good her work is, she finds herself in these main event opportunities or these title match opportunities. She just finds herself in those title match opportunities at the really, really wrong time.
Yeah.
I mean, when she won the Royal Rumble, she had to go up against Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair was, on a tear at that point. There was just no way she was losing. It's kind of where Bianca is right now. Bianca's on a tear right now. There ain't no way she's losing. Bad timing. I mean, you want to be in that spot as a competitor. You want to be in that spot where you're contending for a title at WrestleMania. I mean, it puts you in one of the marquee matches, but somebody's got to lose.
She went from unbeatable in NXT
yeah.
to very beatable in the main roster.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate. I love Asuka's character. I love what I saw out of her in New Japan. I just hope, and, debatable here, but I just hope it's not a language barrier that's holding her back. Her English is not that great, but it's no excuse for creative. Put somebody with her that can speak. I don't care if it's male or female with her. If you want to put somebody with her that can speak, but she should not be held back if that's what it is. And I'm hoping that's not what it is.
I don't know if I would consider Asuka held back, though. I mean, she's been multiple-time champion. She's been in a lot of main event programs for the women's division. She's getting the opportunities, and she's making the most of them. I mean, it's just, again, I believe she's in that point now where I guess they call it like the Dolph Ziggler role now.
God, he was another one that got bypassed. Man.
Same difference though, right? I mean, look how good he still is.
Yeah.
I mean, when you think about his world title, the night after WrestleMania, his world title, how many years ago was that now? 10?
10.
But he's still that good. I mean, but they haven't used him anywhere close to that level since.
Yep.
I feel like Asuka still always hovers around that main event women's territory. So it's not like she's been demoted, but she is kind of that gatekeeper. I mean, when it's time to make a person, hey, put her in there with Asuka. Asuka makes them.
Yeah, but whether it's work or shoot, we may be getting ready to lose her because she did post on Twitter that she might be ready to go back to Japan. So
I mean, hey, that's what Kairi did. Look, Kairi went over there. She was New Japan women's champion for a while until another WWE person went over there and took that from her. So
true. All right, so we'll move on. Moving into Hell in a Cell. Edge versus Finn Balor.
Good Lord.
So the latter gets the spot of the night for this one.
Oh, yeah. At the split of the night, too, because did you see Balor's head
20-something stitches.
Oh, yeah.
Or staples, not stitches.
Yeah, I was going to say, so he was getting stapled in the ring.
In the ring.
You know, while they were showing Edge.
Dude, that dude is tough as hell to get that
Yeah,
done.
I mean, because he laid there. I mean, and, you know, the only time we saw him while that was happening, he was basically crawling over to the trainers to convince them to let the match keep going. He's like, it's okay, it's okay. When I saw that gash on his head after, when they showed the locker room photos, like, ain't no way in hell that was okay.
No.
Dude, his brain was spilling out of that crack in his head right there.
And me and you were talking during that match, and at first, admittedly, I was put off because this is a freaking Hell in a Cell match. Why are you going to make a stop for a medical?
I do remember you said that, but that's I remember telling you, I was like, look at the ring, though. I'm like, there's a lot of blood dropped in that ring. I'm like, I don't think this is a minor cut that they're tending to here.
I was like, I understand them kind of stopping it and going, are you okay? All right, let's go. But then after we saw everything that came out, I get it.
I was going to say, when you saw those locker room, when you saw that gash on his head, do you see what, like I said, had they kept wrestling, his eyeballs and stuff were going to start pouring out of that hole in his head. So, I mean, at that point, you kind of have to stop it because he would have died had he stayed out there a little bit longer and just let that blood gush.
So apologies to Finn. I did not mean to not want you to get medical attention, but
hindsight is 20/20.
Yeah, kudos to you, sir, for doing that, because I dare say I would have sit there and let somebody put staples.
Oh no, we'd have called it one. I'd raise the cage. That's it. I'm out. I'd have been in the back right now having the best doctor, and I mean the best doctor, slowly stitching me up while I was on all the anesthesia they could possibly. Oh no, but to lay in there in front of everybody and tell him do whatever. I mean, that was his Rocky moment, you know, where he said, Mick, cut me.
Cut me, Mick.
He said, Mick, sew me up. You know, he said, Mick, staple me, and took staples right in the ring, and then kept going. I mean, and then, you know, they had big spots after that. So again, while half his head split and falling down, you know, drooping over his eyeball and all that, you know, his little braid is pouring out like sweat. He's still out there having a match. I mean, you know,
jumping off the cell wall and everything.
I mean, you know, he still put on a damn good show. And I mean, he was hurt. Let's just call it what he was hurt. That man was hurt.
So we knew that one was also going to be about the entrances. Dude, Edge coming out with the bat wings and Slayer music, that was freaking cool as hell. I loved that.
It was, but those who listened to our previous show know we expected more. Like they said it was going to be Brood Edge. I mean, the only way it was Brood Edge was they literally wrote Brood Edge up there, but there was no other.
He had it on his jacket. He had the patch on the jacket of the Brood, and Gangrel and Christian's, you know, pictures were on there. So
where was
that's
Brood
not the same
music?
though.
Where was the creepy music?
It's not the same.
Gangrel ain't doing much. I mean, you know, he could have came out there with his little chalice and drank a little bit of blood. Rumor had it. Now we don't know how true the rumor is, but rumor had it that Tony Khan had signed off on Christian being a part of just the entrance. I get why WWE wouldn't do that. You know, you're not going to put somebody else's talent on your TV. They've done it before, but that was Ric Flair. I mean, that's a hell of a lot different than the Brood entrance. I get it, but the opportunity was there. I mean, you know, I know you're going to talk about missed opportunities here coming up in a little bit, so
I won't dwell on it. But. Let's move on, and let's move into the blowout moment of the night. Shane McMahon. So all we got to say is apples don't fall far from the tree.
No. And it's a requirement in that. It's like a rite of passage.
You got to blow out your quad.
Yeah, you got to blow a quad. So I mean, Vince did it. Triple H did. Vince did it double quad. Triple H has blown both quads, but at least he did it separate.
One at a time.
Yeah, he did. He wasn't wild enough to go ahead and just blow the whole thing. Both of them right at one time, but. They both also, all three of them actually chose to do it in pretty high profile situations.
That they did.
Like, you know, you don't do it in training or sparring. They wait till they get on the grandest stage of the world in front of millions of viewers and die right there in the ring.
Yeah, it did. So with a leapfrog, Shane blew out his quad, tried to recover. Miz knew he obviously seen something was going on. Shane couldn't get up and props to Snoop Dogg for coming in and saving the day.
Ooh, so apparently, I mean, so they're saying he ad-libbed it. Now, I told you as it happened, they probably had that spot planned for later on in the match.
I don't know. Hunter said he ad-libbed. So,
well, of course he said it. I mean, hey, you're gonna put a spin. You're gonna put the best spin on it you can. You got to make chicken salad out of that chicken shit. Because I mean, that was awful.
I'm gonna go with him. I'm gonna believe him. So.
I'll take it, but whether they did or not. I mean, well, so, okay, maybe I'll go along with it because Snoop's people's elbow was horrific.
Come on, you didn't think it was better than the top rope splash?
Yeah, I was just getting ready to say it wasn't as bad as his AEW splash, but I mean, that's probably WWE programming that made his elbow look better than AEW. AEW just didn't know what to do with that splash.
I think the part of it that looked the worst was him trying to hit the ropes. That looked
my horrible. God, I mean, he stood up like a pencil and just kind of fell back into it, popped back up. But I mean, he jogged over there, stopped, turned around, backed into it, popped back up, went the wrong way. I mean, so then he realized it when he got up there to the end. He's like, oh, hell, I went the wrong way. And I'm sitting here thinking like, y'all had to practice this. You at some point, y'all practice this. Who the hell's idea was it to let him do it? But again, with the way Shane went down, I mean, you had to do something. You didn't want it to just end like that. The Miz kind of just trot away. So, hey, again, I'll give it to him. Props to Snoop on, being smart enough to get in there and do it. And Triple H did say at the press conference, hey, a lot of the talent would have just froze. The boss's kid is laying down there hurt. You're in a big-time spot at WrestleMania. He would have known what to do. But, I mean, Snoop's a lifelong performer. Snoop's been in this game 31 years now. He knows what to do when some bad stuff happens. He knows how to clean it up. Oh, yeah.
All right, so let's move on into the main event.
The main event.
The screw job of the century.
Oh, good Lord. Oh, God.
This did not go anywhere near how I thought it was going to go, and I will give you your flowers, sir, as you did predict this. You did justify it. I will give that to you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I'll take a drink for that.
Does not mean I like it any more than I do.
I'll give you that. And a lot of people didn't.
No.
But I've heard pretty much everybody's opinion on this match. Again, like we stated at the beginning, I wanted to wait before recapping this because I wanted everybody else to get their opinions out, to get their reasoning out. And I've heard them all busted open. I heard the legends, Mark Henry and Bully Ray. I've heard some of the ad-free guys, Ric Flair, Eric Bischoff. I've heard everybody give their take on, give their expertise on why this happened this way. And, and I've heard them talk down to all of us know nothings, as they call us out here, just because we haven't been in the business, just because we haven't taken a bump, we don't know anything here. But point of that is, I actually have the exact reason why they did it. And you haven't heard this anywhere else. If again, 4/5, April 5th, if you've heard this reasoning from anywhere else when you're listening to this podcast, you comment and let me know and I'll go listen to it, because I'm promising you this is going to be the first time you hear the reasoning behind what happened. And as soon as you hear it, it's going to be a realization point for everybody out there listening where you just have to stop and say, damn, he nailed it. Right. He got it, because nobody else has gotten it yet. They all have their opinions, but they don't have the reason. And I have a business reason why this happened.
All right, I'm waiting on pins and needles. Let's hear it, Frank.
Okay, well, I mean, so here's the thing. In business, in all of sports, sales, in whatever avenue you travel on, whatever you find your way to go down, you always hear the saying, I think I likened it to college sports. So you're a fan of college sports.
Yeah.
So you know about like the transfer portal and things like that.
Yep.
So when you get an athlete in the transfer portal, as a head coach, you've got two options. You're either going to reform your entire team, your entire offense, your entire whatever the case may be around the player you got in the transfer portal, or you're going to take that transfer that you're getting in and you're gonna teach him your system and teach him how to play in your system.
Okay.
So what the WWE did is simple. They brought Cody in. They tore him down all the way from where he was, because he was an incoming star that was already a made man, already had his fan base. They tore him down to build him back up in the image that they want to create him in. Simple business. That's how business works. This is a business at the end of the day. What they did with Cody is what a head coach would do to a star athlete that's coming in when those transfer guys go to Alabama. Nick Saban. You think Nick Saban's going to reform it? You think he's going to recreate the wheel for a superstar player when he's already got a superstar stable over on his side? Absolutely not. He's going to sit him on the bench like he did Tua and so many other names. You're going to sit on the bench. We're going to tear you down. We're going to rebuild you back up in our image so that way you are a machine when you go out there. You are more than ready to go because you have been built up from the ground up on the WWE's terms in this case. So look at it again. Look at it this way. Same difference. Cody, what was the theme line of Cody's run this year? Finish his story, right?
Right.
Listen again to what I just said. Finish his story. WWE has no marketing in his story. WWE has marketing in their story. So they're tearing Cody down. Now they're going to rebuild him in their story, starting with Brock Lesnar, who is their biggest star ever. Starting with him, they're going to rebuild Cody in their image so that way when he does finally go over Roman to win his championship, he's going to be a megastar. There won't be any doubt. There won't be any naysayers. There won't be a soul out there to put up against what just happened because Cody has been built in their image the way they wanted him to, and they'll be able to promote that going forward.
So what you're saying is they Marine Corps his ass.
Exactly.
They
told him, look,
tore him down.
Everything that you know,
in their image.
Right? They wanted him to forget everything he knew, forget it all, dump it all out the window. Now here we are. Monday night was ground zero. Step one, Brock Lesnar. You can't start any hotter than that. I mean, you fought Roman one night. Now you're in the ring, scrapping with Brock Lesnar the next night. That's a pretty damn good setup here for those of you out there who thought, oh, if Cody loses, it's over. The story's over. He's dead. They don't have anything else they can do with him. They absolutely have stuff they can do with him now. They're gonna spend probably the next year building him up the way they want him to be built up. And I believe my prediction is by WrestleMania 40, when they got those championships split up and they got that mess that's going on at the top of the heap right now all sorted out, that's when you'll see Cody get his wings. That's when you'll see Cody ascend to the highest heights. That's where the story that WWE created gets finished. All to be damned, the story that Cody had. Thank you very much.
I will give you that, sir. That is, you've actually just made me feel better about everything that's happened.
Thank you very much. And that's why I said I wanted to wait. I wanted to let all those quote unquote experts get all their opinions out. I thought this Sunday night, hell, I thought this last week. But I was like, until it happens, I don't want to say it because then everybody, all of a sudden everybody says it, then nobody knows. I said, okay, let's wait. Let's let everybody. Now everybody's talking about NXT today. Everybody's talking about Raw. WrestleMania is in the background. But that's the business reason why you do what you did on Sunday night. All to be damned what the emotional reason was. The emotion say you give that belt to Cody, and I completely understand it.
So
the
now,
business reason says you do what they did.
So now let's take what you just said and let me add a little bit to it, because I think I see now the path in which you're taking this, but you're talking about the business. But now let's talk about the emotion for a moment.
Okay.
So Cody's whole angle over the past 6 years, 7 years almost now, has all been emotionally driven.
Yep. That's his character.
It was because of, he felt like he wasn't going anywhere, so he struck out on his own.
Yep.
He ran the world over with indie promotions, honing his craft.
Yep.
He did what he did in AEW because of he wanted to stick it to the man, basically. He wanted to show, hey, there can be an alternate to this. Coming back to WWE was emotionally driven because he had to finish capturing something in his mind the Rhodes family never accomplished.
Yep.
And now he is broken.
Yep.
Not Matt Hardy broken.
Nope.
I'm talking about
emotionally broken.
Heartbroken. Yeah. Emotionally broken. He sat in that ring at the close of the show and looked at the crowd and said, I'm sorry.
Yep. Anybody remember John Cena doing that when The Rock went over on him after Cena had guaranteed victory? Cena sat right on the aisleway, and he had to do the same thing, just sit there and watch the man celebrate.
Wouldn't it also in the transition that night after, didn't Brock kill him the night after?
Absolutely. That's exactly how that story worked. Now you're starting to see it, huh?
Yeah, I am.
Now a picture all comes together. That's exactly what happened. Cena came out the night after WrestleMania, after losing to The Rock, and he came out and said, hey, I promised victory and I didn't get it, blah, 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 blah. 20 minutes later, Brock was out there destroying him. And then we had the return of Brock Lesnar back to the Wrestling Federation.
Okay.
So basically they're rehashing an old storyline. But the difference is when Cena lost, that was just to build to something bigger with Rock.
Right.
They had already secured Rock for the following year. They knew where they were heading with that. Cody's got to be a little bit different because, again, Cody's character is different. What'd you say? Emotionally driven. Everything about it. So Cody comes back, four matches out of AEW and wins the World Championship. Now he's Cody from AEW again because now he's going to come out there. He's got to gloat. He's got to be grateful, blah, blah, blah. And what happened in AEW when Cody was winning the TV title or the whatever the title is over there they had, the fans started turning on him. They started hating Cody just because he was being Cody. He was too much Cody. So WWE, realizing that, before they let that happen, they said, you know what, we're going to get out in front of it. We're going to tear Cody down, which they did, and now we're going to rebuild him by letting him get destroyed by Brock Lesnar. What's the best way to get sympathy on a babyface? You have the biggest, baddest bully on the street go out there and beat him down to no risk score. And I mean, they had a stretcher out there for Cody after what Brock did. They were going to stretcher him out. Cody, he fought through it and said, no, I'm not going to be stretchered. I'm going to walk out. They just drew massive babyface love for Cody Rhodes. So there's no chance of the fans turning on him in this angle. But if they put the belt on him, 4 matches out of AEW, and now all of a sudden he's the top guy and blah, 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 the fans are going to do that same thing they do when it's Roman, when it's Cena, when it's everybody else, and say, oh, God, you're pushing them down our throats. We're sick of them. We don't want it to happen. But this way, you're not going to do that because now you're emotionally invested in what's going to happen with Cody Rhodes' character. So you don't want him to just go away. He doesn't get heat already. You're sympathetic to him. You're like, oh, my God, this guy, he was trying to live his dad's dream and he failed. And 24 hours after he failed, he got destroyed. I mean, God, the poor guy's, it can't get any worse for this guy. So now you want to see him succeed. You want to see him build himself back up. But out of all that, I don't want it to get lost on other people. Cody understands what's going on.
Yeah, he does. I am a full believer. The fans may be looking at this like, okay, Cody's probably pissed. It's not the outcome he wanted. He left a lot, in AEW to come do this. No, I think there's
absolutely not.
He understands the business of it.
Absolutely, and the telltale side of that, you want to know the biggest indicator of that fact. After the loss, when the hearts are broken all around the world, Dave LaGreca ranting, yelling his head off on Busted Open. People running around like the end of the world had come. Brandy Rhodes tweeted simple words from Cody's song, "Hard times make better men."
Yep.
What hard times has Cody had up to this point? He came into WWE from AEW. First thing he started talking about big-ass contracts, so he got paid. Ain't nothing wrong. Ain't nothing hard about that. He wrestled 3 matches against Seth Rollins, won them all. Okay. He got in the Royal Rumble. He got number 30 in the Royal Rumble. Then he won the Royal Rumble. Gift horse, mouth. Mm-hmm. I mean, anybody. He had a couple tune-up matches. He beat Solo. Solo was undefeated. He beat him. They had one other match, I think, on SmackDown or something like whatever it was. We know he won. I mean, there's no doubt that he won. Cody ain't had no hard times. He's been gifted this. This has been a cakewalk into the main event of WrestleMania. Hell, half the time he's been back, he was out on injury, for Christ's sake. He's had no hard times. And I said it before WrestleMania. I put it on different social media outlets. I don't know if I said it on here, but the fact still remains. He's 4 matches removed out of AEW, and he's going to win the World Heavyweight Championship, the Universal World Heavyweight Championship from Roman Reigns, arguably the biggest star in the modern era. Give me a break. There's no way that was happening.
So I'm sitting over here eating a lot of humble pie.
Absolutely, but I appreciate you because remember, keep in mind, this isn't for you. We've already had this.
I know.
This is for the world listening because I know a lot of y'all that are listening are mad about this. I know a lot of y'all hate this. I know I already see there's a sugar honey iced tea amount of people out there saying Vince took back over and he's in charge of creative and we're going to hate WWE again and blah, blah, blah. This is for y'all to let you know that's not the case. This had to happen. It happened the way it was supposed to happen. And in about, say 9 months or so, y'all will appreciate the way this happened because you'll start to see the form of the new storyline. You'll start to see Cody's redemption story, the WWE story.
So I still feel the sting. I still feel the burn of the moment.
They got creams for that.
Yeah, I know.
There you go.
Unfortunately. But, you come along here and serving me the story and giving me the glass of Kool-Aid, and now I done drank the Kool-Aid, and now sitting here thinking about it, I want the whole damn picture. Come on.
Well, there you go.
Give me more. I'm ready. I'm ready to see how they build this man back up and how they present him in a manner of the next time them two dudes get in the ring together, the outcome's a little different.
Well, so, the start is Brock Lesnar. Somehow or another, if Cody goes over Brock Lesnar, right away, he's automatically back in that conversation again.
Yep.
They may not program him with Roman because Roman may be off doing something else, which is great. But if Cody gets a W over Brock Lesnar, you can't discredit him anymore. His name is automatically in that conversation of world champion one way or the other. My take is, again, like I said a minute ago, once they figure out that mess they got going on with those unified titles, I feel like that's where you'll get your answer at.
Yeah.
And hopefully they'll have that figured out around the same time the culmination of this Brock-Cody storyline comes about. And then maybe Cody gets his flowers even before WrestleMania. Hopefully they work out a Raw champion and maybe Cody gets to be that first guy. What's better than that if Cody's the first? Well, let's say they make a new title. Let's say they rename the title. It's Cody's the first. That's bigger than, Cody beat Roman at WrestleMania and got the unified belts that are a mess already. Cody doesn't need to get his first title win in the muck of a mess anyway. Give him his honors all by himself. Let him get it all on his own, preferably away from Roman, because I think that way will give him more credence. And then you get those two together later on and then let Cody get his win back.
Okay. Well, we'll see where that goes. But that, man,
I'm feeling real charged up over here now, boy.
This
is why we're the Bookers Alliance, and this is why I'm currently the head booker, because this is what I do. Mark Henry, this is what I do.
My mind is in circles right now, seeing where this goes, but we got to move on. We got more stuff to talk about. And so, everybody, if we did not tell you at the beginning of this episode, the title is, So What Do You Want to Talk About? WTF. So it took us that long to recap WrestleMania, but again, we've stated for 4 previous episodes, this is our Christmas, this is our Super Bowl, this is the culmination of a year's worth of wrestling. It deserved that time, but God, Monday morning, so while people were still reeling from the whole Cody thing and, oh my God, they couldn't wait to get to social media or couldn't wait to hear Busted Open or listen to your favorite podcast, before you could even get to any of that, they smashed you with the WWE has been sold to Endeavor Sports, and they're going to partner in with UFC to make a joint sports venture worth $21.9 billion. What the F? WTF. That was a headbanger right there. My goodness. So I will say, listening to all parties involved as figureheads and representatives of all the companies after this is all said and done, I do understand and actually agree with what they say about the synergy of both companies and how coming together makes a best decision and a good decision for both businesses going forward. And I also believe the guy from Endeavor, I can't remember, Ari something. Yeah. I do like what he said with the statement, he said he believes that UFC and WWE have never really been valued at their truest potential as separate entities. And now coming together, they can kind of get that evaluation of how much they're worth, how much the sporting fans kind of love those two entities, but also now how they're looked at as a worldwide conglomerate.
Yeah.
Obviously, we know the UFC worldwide. We know the WWE worldwide. But now that you've got two under one parent company kind of pushing and waving the same flag, they're undeniable. Well, you can't deny the fact that these organizations are major players in sports throughout the world.
Well, they're both the best of their brand. I mean, as far as mixed martial arts goes, UFC has been far and away the leader in that since the beginning. I mean, ever since in the beginning, they kind of floundered and all that. They did their reality TV show to the moon. I mean, they've been gone ever since. They've eclipsed all the other mixed martial art programs out there by far. WWE, the exact same thing, but they just did it 20, 30 years ago, when WCW came around. After they defeated and purchased WCW, they were by far and away the number one sports entertainment wrestling gig in town. And now they're together. I mean, I think if nothing else, it brings credence to both programs.
Agreed.
Because now, UFC has always been the real stuff. That's the real thing. And WWE has always been the pretend stuff and all the way to use the F word. So it's the pretend stuff and all that. But
scripted stuff.
Yeah, but let's look at it honestly. I mean, when UFC started, UFC, the promotion, they were kind of garbage in the beginning. They didn't understand the sports entertainment part of it. And then when they finally learned it, that's what catapulted them to that next level.
It was the wild, wild west when they started up. There was no weight classes.
No.
There was actually only one rule that was followed. And
don't die?
No, no. You cannot punch in the nuts. I mean, that was the one rule that they followed.
What about the women?
So there was no women when the UFC first started.
So Ronda Rousey kind of I thought they were like Chris Cyborg and them. I thought they were around at the very beginning.
No. There was no women in this. Matter of fact, when they were fighting, you couldn't even purchase the pay-per-views when they first started. You actually had to catch them illegally somehow.
God, if they tried that now, the UFC be canceled first day. Oof, there's no equality in that.
I mean but there was a lone sheriff though running through during then, and that was Royce Gracie. He kind of ran roughshod over everybody, and when you look at him, he's not that he's not Brock Lesnar by no means.
The Gracies, they're the jiu-jitsu people, right?
Correct. So what he would do is he would come into the octagon with a gi on, and he would wrap people up in that gi and just choke the ever living crap out of them.
Wow.
So that's kind of the origins of the UFC. When they did finally make it into kind of the sports world as a legitimate competitor, they made it more boxing-esque. You had weight classes, you had gear you actually had to wear. You had to wear a mouthpiece, you had to wear gloves. And it just, there was certain rules. You couldn't knee anymore if your opponent was on the ground. You couldn't punch to the back of the head anymore. So they really elevated the game of what MMA was.
Gotcha.
Just like you were talking about, though, there's other promotions out there. The UFC is kind of the biggest brand there is. There was Strikeforce. Yeah. There was a lot of other ones kind of overseas that started up. However, UFC just kind of took over, just like WWE did.
Well, once they adopted that, once they understood that entertainment aspect of it, they started doing the entrances, and they started developing the reality show.
Yeah,
they came out with video games. They started to understand, hey, WWE's doing something over here. Their stuff ain't even real like ours. We're a completely different market. Let's separate ourselves from WWE completely, but take all the bits and pieces out of what they're doing, incorporate them into what we're doing, and it'll make it more appealing to a broader audience, which is what it did.
Yep. So, them being kind of purchased by Endeavor, I think it's good. The jury's still out, though. I mean, they just started talks. They haven't even closed the deal really yet. So we'll see where this goes. Is it the best option? Don't know. Is it the worst option? Don't know.
Soon to find out. I know if they start charging $50 or $60 for their pay-per-views every month again, it damn should be the worst option. So.
Yeah, we're gonna have to figure that out. And if you're listening out there, Vince or Dana, streaming platform.
My goodness,
give me one streaming platform with both organizations. I don't care if you charge me $25, $30 a month.
Yeah, right. If you're going to give me both.
Yeah, if you're going to give me both, I'll pay up for that.
Yeah, if I'm going to get a UFC pay-per-view and a WWE pay-per-view every month, then yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll deal with like you said, $25, $30 a month. I'll pay that because I'm already paying 10 or 10 for Peacock. And if you're a UFC fan, you're paying for ESPN Plus.
Correct.
You're on different platforms. You're paying two different people anyway. Yeah, conglomerate, bring it together, put one platform out there, and I'll pay that because, I'm not that big of a UFC fan just simply because I don't have the access to it.
Right.
Because again, I'm already paying for Peacock, or I was paying for WWE pay-per-views. I'm not also going to start paying for UFC, but if it's already there and it's already on, somebody says, hey, check out the UFC fight tonight, and I've got easy access in the house, I'll check it out then. It'll be, oh, well, let me go watch it now. Kind of the same way you watch it on YouTube and that the day after or a week after now. If I'm already paying for the service that has it, I'll be more apt to watch it then. Then they might win me over as a fan. So then I might find myself wanting to watch their product.
Yep. So we'll see where that goes. We don't know everything yet. One thing that we do know, though, I think Vince McMahon is channeling Walt Disney as far as appearance-wise. Did you see that, Joker?
My goodness. That little caterpillar he had under his nose the other night.
Dude's done dyed his mustache, his eyebrows, his hair. I mean, he is a walking spokesman for men right now.
Yeah, I mean, at this point now, I didn't know if he was trying to like Charlie Chaplin. I didn't know where he was going. I was just expecting him to like do a little dance and make a silent movie. But
yeah, so Vince, it's okay to let your gray show, man. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, you're 70. You're 70 something.
77, I think.
Yeah, he's 70 a lot. So at this point now, yeah, I mean, we're not expecting you to look like you did when you were in the Attitude Era. He had gray then. I mean, yeah. Running WWE, you're expected to have some gray.
Yeah.
So
all I got to say is when you try to look like a younger model, you probably running around with a younger model. That's all I'm saying on that.
Hey, you got to give him one thing though. I mean, he's got more hair than Cena.
He does.
So he's doing something right. Yeah, he's doing something right. So.
All right, so we will digress on the VKM look. And then move right into, and ladies and gentlemen, this is a supersized episode that we're throwing at you for this one. Too much to talk about, too much to pack in for a 30-minute regular episode. So we're going to keep going and keep rolling here.
Yeah, and this is the biggest one of the year. Yeah. I mean, that post-WrestleMania episode, it's the most we're going to be able to give you. So we're giving it all to you.
Yeah, so the Raw after Mania, couple things. First thing, obviously that was the Raw the day of the news breaking. So obviously all kinds of crap going on anyway.
Elephant in the room, if nothing else.
Yeah. And then rumors of, or there was a talent meeting, quote unquote, nothing changing, yada, yada, yada. And then who is in gorilla position as reported on Raw?
Well, that would be Vince. But from my understanding, I heard Ric Flair's podcast today, and he said Vince was in Gorilla at WrestleMania. So, I mean,
right.
Apparently by the time Raw came around, it wasn't nothing new, but everybody, and let me reiterate, everybody is reporting that locker room morale is down because of it. Not necessarily because they know what this means, but because they're afraid of what this means.
Correct.
There's too much potential of going back to the old way that a lot of people are just grown tired of. There's too much potential out there for it. So we don't know where this is going to go, but it definitely has talent uneasy again. I feel like talent had gotten a little bit of backstage comfort for a while, just in the fact that, hey, we know what we're going to be doing for the next foreseeable future. And I'm a creature of habit too. I appreciate knowing what's going to be expected of me before it's expected of me. I'm not the kind, I go to work every day. I don't want to be 6-7 hours into my job and then somebody come and tell me, you know what? We need you to do a completely different job today. This is what you do. This is what you do every day, all day. But today we want you to go do something completely different that has nothing to do with anything you've ever done before. I don't like that. That would make me uneasy, and I'd say, ugh, I want to go home now. So, well, speaking of going home, I mean, again, you're getting these talents that are requesting their release because, again, they're uneasy. They're not comfortable where they want to be, and you don't want to be in that situation if you don't have to be. You know, if you don't have to be uncomfortable, you're not going to let yourself be uncomfortable. And I think they're just going to see some of the negative aspects of it to a point. Now, you're not going to see a mass exodus of talent leaving.
No, some people work very well with Vince.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, so don't expect, like, you know, everybody that you've grown to love over the last 6 to 9 months to end up on AEW TV tomorrow. That ain't happening.
No.
But it does make people uneasy, and that uneasiness does have a reverberance over the locker room.
And so let's also say this. Let's kind of put all the cards on the table. And me and you have both talked about, we hate talking and seeing Vince in this light because of everything that Vince has given to the business. Yeah. I mean, we are majority pro wrestling fans because of this man's ideas.
Absolutely. Had it not been for Vince, none of us, I mean, again, and I've told this story before, the whole Hulkamania run was what got me into being a fan of WWE. Had Vince Jr. not been in control, Vince Sr. had fired Hulk Hogan.
Yep.
Meaning I wouldn't have become a WWE fan. I may have found Hulk Hogan on AWA, which is where he was coming from, but AWA didn't last. Meaning, you know, they didn't have the machine behind them that WWE put behind them. Meaning I may have never fallen in love with wrestling. I could be sitting here doing a podcast on computers or something right now, having no clue about what all these wrestling podcast people are even talking about. So
I mean, and we're not going to also glance over, though, all of the stuff that has come out about Vince and the allegations and the hush money payments and everything like that. But honestly, truth to be told, that's that man and that's his business. And I may not like it as a person, or you as a listener may not like it as a person, but that's him. That's what happened. And honestly, I'm at the point where it's like, okay, I don't want to look at this man and go, well, I don't like him because of everything he did. I can't say that I'm a fan of what he did, but at the same time, I want to look back at Vince again if he's going to be involved and be going, okay, that was awesome. I love the story that we were fed. That was great. But the fan pushback, they're starting chants at NXT. They started a Twitter hashtag trend today of fire Vince McMahon.
Uh-huh.
The fans
that doesn't happen anymore.
No.
There's no such thing as firing Vince McMahon.
The fans are giving a backlash to everything that is going on. And to be honest with you, I see the point, because we've went through the past 6 to 9 months of Triple H, and man, have we seen a great improvement in the product. We may not have.
I think everybody would agree with that.
Right. We may not have liked every decision.
Yeah.
Like the Cody Roman match, but at the same time, Triple H was doing a great job.
Yeah. Well, so and again, like I said, we always cite our sources where we hear things from. So Bully Ray said the other day, and I think he was definitely on point when he said that. He wasn't on point with what I said about the business aspect. He didn't get to that level yet, but that's fourth dimensional thinking. You got to get there. Sorry, but he did say something about that, the whole Vince thing, and I think he was correct. I don't think people are lashing out at Vince's return so much as they're lashing out because they didn't like the end of that Cody Roman match, and this is the scapegoat for it.
Right.
I think they're fine. The easy out is not to think about what I thought, not to present the business reason that I presented. The easy out is just to say, oh, well, this was a Vince call, and he's going back to the old way, and now I hate it again. And that's not the case. I mean, nobody, and I mean nobody related to the situation has said anything about this was against the grain of what they were already planning long before the sale came up. Meaning they stuck to the game plan. They played the course as it was laid out. Vince had nothing to do with it.
So I will also go on record, though, saying this. What did I text you the other night? I texted you, I am more involved right now as a wrestling fan than I have been ever since the Attitude Era.
Yeah, yeah.
This has gotten me so invested in everything that's going on. And I'm not talking about the backstage crap. No. I'm talking about what I'm seeing on TV and in that ring, the storylines.
Play out.
Right. So I I honestly, I don't care if it's Vince McMahon. I don't care if it's Triple H. I don't care if it's Tony Khan. I don't care who it is.
Yeah, you just want good TV.
Feed me good content. That's all I want.
And that's what we're getting right now. So regardless of who was in charge or what, now, I get it. They say there were a lot of last-minute rewrites and a lot of stuff, a lot of craziness went on backstage of that Raw after WrestleMania. And those are staples of Vince's reign. That's kind of what we used to hear about when Vince was in charge. So again, I get it to that level for the talent. As far as us fans go, though, we have no idea what's going on back there. We have formulated an opinion based on how we feel about what all happened in the last 72 hours. So from Saturday to Sunday to today, you formulated an opinion over the last 5 days of what you thought about WrestleMania package.
Right.
If you didn't love it, well, damn, now it's all Vince's fault. I personally called it, so I enjoyed it. So I could care less who was in charge of it.
Yeah. We've heard that already.
They played out my storyline as I laid out. So hell, as far as you guys are concerned, I may be in charge of it now because they're writing my storylines on TV, to which I appreciate them.
Dude. So that begs the question, what happens now? Where do we go? What does all of this mean?
There's your WTF right now. Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
Anybody who claims to know is lying.
But I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to climb up on this rocket ship. I'm going to put my butt in my seat. I'm going to make sure that my tray table is in the upright position. I'm going to fasten my seatbelt, and I'm going to enjoy this day.
Yeah, go along for the ride. Just whatever happens, happen. If it gets to a point where you can see the old regime back in charge and all that, don't worry about it. We'll point it out. When we started this podcast, it was a lot of the reason we started it was because of what we had just endured for the last, say, 3 years. Watching Raw, I mean, short of the Bloodline storyline, there was a lot of dull moments throughout the pandemic, and there was just a lot of, my God, what is happening to what we've loved for so long? It's almost making you fall out of love with it.
Yep.
Well, I must admit, and for the last 2 full years, the first half of Roman's reign was kind of iffy. They were trying to figure it out. But the last 2 full years, the last 2 WrestleManias where they've been in this storyline and invested, I've been bought in 100%. And it's trickling down to the other storylines.
Yeah.
Not only am I just watching okay, once the Roman segment's done, I turn the channel. No, at this point now, other stories are becoming more interested too, and they're piggybacking off of what momentum that the first segment or the opening segment with Roman and then bring in.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point because now that I'm back watching and I'm back invested, and obviously the story that is undeniably what everybody is watching for is that Bloodline story.
Yep.
But along the way, started noticing though some horses in that ring that you just would have fast forwarded through.
Absolutely, because you were trying to get to the Roman part.
Yeah, I mean,
but you're invested in Sami Zayn and KO.
Right.
You're invested in Walter and Gunther. And,
no, it's Walter.
Good Lord,
no, that Freudian slip was correct.
For me being invested, it is Walter. But I mean, you're invested in because you see those banger matches and you're like, my God. I mean, young star Montez Ford. You're invested in Montez. You're like, man, he went from, that guy can jump real high to, wait a minute, this guy's really building up a little repertoire here.
Chad Gable, LA Knight.
Yeah, you're looking at these guys like, wait a minute, and they may only rub up against the bloodline for, a backstage segment. They bump against an Uso in the back or something like that. But just that little bit of rub makes you say, oh, look, apparently that guy's up on Uso's level. He may not be a Roman guy, but he's a solo guy. Let's see what he's doing. How are they going to get back to this storyline? You're interested in so many more people, than you were 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I was interested in Roman, Bobby Lashley, because, they were giving Lashley his first run. A little bit of Big E because, they were finally giving Big E a chance and, get well soon, Big E. Jesus,
absolutely.
You're letting a lot pass you by out here. You got to get back in there, get in the mix of it. But, they were bringing up guys here and there little by little, but there wasn't an influx of talent to whereas you're like, my God, I could sit and watch 3 hours of Raw. I mean, literally, before this podcast started, how many times did we sit and watch, Raw with each other, just be like, God, this is just unbearable.
Fast forward.
I was happily recording the episode the night before just so I could come to work the next day and, watch it through the day at work so I didn't have to watch all of it. It was just unbearable for a while, but now it's not that way. Now, not to say 3 hours full is, wonderful, great, compelling TV. There's still dead parts in there, but it's not a lot of it. 30 minutes of it may be like, ugh, I could have did without this. But the other 2+ hours, I mean, you're invested. And that's the difference between watching Raw because it's on and that's what you've been doing for the last 40 years of your life, or I can't wait to see Raw because it's coming, it's coming on in a few minutes and I can't wait to see what storyline's going to pop up or where they're going to go this week. That's a world of difference, and they're on the good end of it right now, and I hope they stay that way. I hope whatever changes are happening doesn't cause that regression to, I got to get through 3 hours of Raw just so I can go to bed. And, I don't want to live that life again as a wrestling fan.
Agreed. And so we kind of just, we're looking at it from the standpoint of, hey, just wait, just don't give up on it. Obviously, lifelong wrestling fans, you're going to be here through all the crap anyway. Yep. As you pointed out earlier, I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan. I'm used to that.
Like you say, you hang with your team, but
that's it.
If nothing else, hopefully our episode today will encourage some of you, as now that you've heard the fourth dimensional look at this picture instead of just the what's right in front of your face. Now that you heard some backstory, you wrap your mind around that. If you disagree, definitely don't hesitate to let me know. Matter of fact, I dare you to disagree with me and let me know. Now, again, legends, I don't care if you got the blue check mark out there. Come at me and let me know. Try and poke a hole in my story. I defy you to do it. It'd be wonderful. But, I mean, for those of you who aren't the blue check mark and all that, if you disagree, definitely let us know. But for those of you who are just upset and on the fence, hopefully this brings him back around like I did for Marky Mark. I bought him back around. He came in hot. Yep. And look, we've had a good cast in here for the last half of it. The first half of it was touch and go. But the last half of it, look, we're having a good conversation about wrestling.
I'm ready to ride with it. We'll see where it goes.
There we go.
We'll see where it goes.
If I only win one, I did my job. So, all right.
All right, everybody. This kind of wraps up this long extended podcast of this episode. Again, there was just too much not to do an extended episode. So we appreciate you hanging with us. And hey, if you had to cut it off in the middle and finish at the end, that's okay too. We understand. Right. We got you.
There you go.
But definitely,
we're always here for you.
Absolutely. Drop us a line on our social media outlets. Let us know your thoughts and opinions. And as always, we appreciate the hell out of you for listening to our podcast. Thank you so much. And with that, we bid you adieu.
All right. And to end the way we started, if you're not down with that, I got 2 words for you. Booker's Alliance.
Today's podcast was produced by SBP. You can find our podcast on all major podcast platforms. Also connect with us on our social media accounts. Search for the Booker's Alliance on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.